My son Samuel is teething at the moment, and every evening for the past few days we've been giving him Calpol to help him with his teething. But it's one of the hardest parts of the day because Samuel hates having Calpol, and he'll twist and turn and keep his mouth shut, and he won't let us put the Calpol in his mouth. And it's quite ironic that something that is designed to help him and do him good is so hateful to him. And in this second talk, as we think about Christmas, as we think about the birth of Jesus, we're going to be thinking about hate and a hateful response to one who is so good, one who came to do nothing but good. Different responses to Jesus. So this second one is one of hatred. Ula has already spoken about how foolish it would be to neglect a compass if you're out in the hills trying to navigate, trying to get somewhere where you need to go, and you've got the tools, you've got a compass in your pocket, but you just neglect it. That's foolish enough. But imagine if someone was very aware of that compass, but they not just neglect it, they actually take the compass out of their pocket and they destroy it. They know the compass shows which way is north, shows which way to go, but they are not interested at all. They smash the compass and throw the pieces to one side, and then they deliberately go the other way. How foolish would that be? A response of hatred to what you know is there to help you. And we see this kind of mentality, this kind of response in one of the big figures in the Christmas story, and that is the man Herod, or the king Herod the Great, as he's come to be known. And he certainly wanted to be known as someone who was great. This king embarked on many great building projects in ancient Israel. He almost doubled the temple in Jerusalem in size. He had great fortresses built. He really wanted a name for himself, and he loved power. He loved royal, kingly power, and he was desperate to hold on to it. He was incredibly suspicious of any potential rivals who may become king in his place. So he became a hard man, very hard, brutal king, a paranoid king. And no one was above suspicion in Herod's mind. Even members of his own family suffered. He even had his own wife and some of his sons murdered. This is who we're dealing with, Herod the Great, a brutal, paranoid man. But then into his world, into his life come the wise men. And the wise men say something remarkable. They say that they have come to see him who has been born king. Not someone who will become king, but he who is born king. And we're not surprised, as we read in verse 3 of the passage, that not just Herod, but all Jerusalem were troubled or disturbed, because they know how mad, how paranoid Herod is, and how much damage can come from a potential rival. But Herod acts. He does respond. He wants more information. He gets the religious experts together, the priests, the scribes, and he wants to know, well, where is this new king going to be born? He speaks to the wise men, the magi. Tell us about this star. When did you see this star arise? But finding out information about Jesus is one thing, but it's no good if there is hatred in your heart. That's where the key issue is. You can have all the information about Jesus, accurate information, But if there's resistance, rebellion in your heart, then that information will do you no good. Herod, he wants Jesus dead. That's why he's finding out this information. He sees a potential rival. He wants Jesus dead. Herod is powerful. He's a king. He's strong. He has means at his disposal. But God is so much stronger. God is stronger. God had an eye upon his son Jesus, and Jesus is protected. The wise men are protected. And we read in verse 13 how a warning is given to Jesus' parents, Mary and Joseph, and they take the baby safely into Egypt. But tragically, I'm sure you know the story, many other infants in Bethlehem don't escape, and Herod in his mad, paranoid rage has every baby under 2 slaughtered in Bethlehem. But Herod, his hatred, it began in his heart. It began in his heart, just thoughts bubbling up, paranoia, pride, fear of rivals. It began in his heart. All sin begins in our hearts. But look what it can lead to. Look what it can lead to. Look what Herod does. We have a town full of dead toddlers. And it all traces back to what was in Herod's heart to begin with. The sin of rebellion against God's anointed king, of hate. Never underestimate sin. What a powerful warning Herod gives us. Never underestimate sin and how it can deteriorate. It can spread and lead to unimaginable horrors. Herod hated Jesus because he is king. He is king, not because it was just another baby born, but because this was a king, a rival king to him. He wanted to be king of his own life. He wanted to set the rules. He didn't want to bow the knee or obey anyone else. And there's a challenge there for us, isn't there? Are we prepared to accept Jesus as king? Are we prepared to live day after day after day with Jesus as our king? And that means that we obey him and that we trust him, that we follow him as our king. Many people, they're okay, they're fine with thinking of Jesus as teacher or as friend or as savior even, but they can be reluctant to have him as king, as the one to obey and serve. But he is king. He is that too. He's the other things. He's friend and savior, but he must be king of your life and my life, or he will not be any of those other things. He will not be your savior. He will not be your friend unless he is also your king. And may it be true in your life and in mine as well.